wild.
When the hunger falls,
He's dangerous.
you're a prisoner of passion now.
He's hot.
When the fire is out of control.
And he's not just making music. In Rich Girl, he's not exactly what your daddy has in mind.
You're a prisoner of passion.
Rich Girl, rated R.
Hey everybody, this is Don Michael Paul. I'm going to be on $2 late fee with Zachary. So I look forward to seeing you all then. I had a great time on the show. Got to have a lot of great conversations. Got to see an old friend that was very meaningful to me. Big love out to Jill Schoelen and to all you Tremors fans out there and the people who have been supporting my career and watching me. Come and watch me on $2 late fee.
You're a prisoner of passion. When the hunger falls, you're a prisoner of passion now. When the fire is out of control, is out of control.
I am so thrilled. There is a short bucket list of performers, actors, writers, directors, etc. that I've always wanted on the show, and you are one of them. And Don Michael Paul, it is a privilege and honor to have you on $2 late fee.
Oh, thanks, Zachary. Do they still have $2 late fees?
Well, it's funny you say that because the last guest I had on, he's in the UK and he says, "Oh, it's telling me I owe you $2 because he was on, he came on late." And I said, "No, that's the name of the show." So, no, I don't think, I know there's a few video stores that still exist, but did you go to the video store back in the day?
Oh gosh, are you kidding me? I lived at the video store when the VHS revolution came to be, and I remember those late fees at Blockbuster, and even when Netflix began and it was a mail-in kind of a thing.
Right.
Don't you remember those? If you mailed them in late, you had late fees too. So yes, of course I remember the late fees. I paid many of them, Zachary, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's funny. I worked at a video store, so I had to call people to tell them that they had to bring their movies in back, right? If they were
Nice.
over a few days late. And we sold various rating levels of movies at our store. So there were sometimes when I'd call a customer and I'd say, "You have to return this movie." And they say, "Well, what's the movie?" And I would tell them, and it would be the wife answering. She goes, "My husband will be down in a few minutes." I'm like, "Oh, no."
Oh gosh.
Anyways, speaking of VHS tapes, I have a VHS copy of something I recorded back in the day, The War Between the Classes, with you.
Oh yes. That was a CBS after school special, or I think they called it a school break special, something like that.
Yeah, a CBS school break special. I actually used that in college when we had a class on it was like a diversity class or something, but I wanted to show an example of when, like tolerance and intolerance, et cetera, et cetera. It's a really powerful show that you're a part of.
Yeah. It was directed by a very talented director named Michael Uno. It starred a really nice young actress, Jan Gann Boyd, I think.
Yeah,
is her
she
name.
plays your kind of girlfriend / friend in the show. Yeah.
Yeah, and it had another very nice actor, if my memory's right, named James Wilder.
Right.
He was also in it, who's a guy that I've known forever, bouncing around Hollywood.
Was that your first time working with him on that show?
Yeah, we worked again later on in a show called Models Inc.
Right.
many years later. But, when you're in Hollywood, you spend a lot of time in audition rooms and driving around and meeting young actors. And he's one of the guys that I knew for a long time. As you could say, I don't remember when that school break special was, but I do remember I was very young and it was one of my very first parts.
Well, it's rolling back to 40 years ago. It's 1985.
Yeah. So yeah, he's a guy I knew for a long time.
It's a trip to me because you were in so many films, TV shows, and then when you transitioned behind the camera, that were a huge part of my life, and dating back to War Between the Classes. And I know that for those that haven't seen that, it is a really, I think it's based on an actual study that they did at a college or a school where they separated people by color and colored like bracelets or something like that. And it sparks a lot of controversy, obviously, because things arise. But like to go from something so heavy hitting into other transitions throughout your acting career were
Hmm.
huge to me, impactful. And it's just a trip that when I saw you step behind the camera to write Harley-Davidson and the Marlboro Man, I was like, wait, that's the same Don Michael Paul that I was watching on the Hat Squad and Rolling
Hmm.
Thunder.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had a pretty diverse career in terms of what I've done. So it's interesting. And for you to say it's impactful, I appreciate that. There's a lot of B movie work in there, but I think that's where we all train.
I don't know. Sometimes the quote unquote B movies, I hold them in a higher regard because we've had so many people on our show that talk about the challenges that it is just to get a movie made now, especially in
Hmm.
2025, but back in the day. So when a project gets, accomplished, whether the warts and all, you got to appreciate it. Everybody from, like you said, B movies like with Albert Pyun or whatnot, you go,
Hmm.
well, this guy had a vision.
Hmm.
He went out and did it. I'm assuming all of these roles that you had really prepared you for getting behind the camera and working, right?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. It's Hollywood is a very complex place
Yeah.
filled with a lot of ambition, and a lot of people uh, don't don't wind up there by accident. You go there with a dream, right?
Right.
And all of us, in some way, have a similar dream. We want to chase an artistic life, and we have ambitions to, make some kind of mark in terms of our creative spirits and putting it out there. So yeah, that's where you learn. It's like it's minor league baseball. You train there, and hopefully one day you get up to the big leagues, and you're able to manage what all of that means. It's not so easy. It sounds easy. It seems easy when we watch all the greats do it.
Right.
And I watch them all. And we see how effortless they are and how great they are and how much we love to watch them. And all that doesn't come easy. It takes a lot of long, hard work to become that, and then to be able to manage the pressure of it.
Right.
And because when you're put into those situations, the question always is, can you handle that spotlight? And that's why Tom Cruise has become Tom Cruise, and Brad Pitt has become Brad Pitt, and
Right.
George Clooney, all those guys become who they become. But they spent a lot, George Clooney, who I've known a long time, he was fighting some killer tomatoes at one time.
He was fighting Killer Tomatoes. He was at Horror High. He
Yeah,
had Red Surf, I believe, was another one he did, which I
yeah,
I cherish as well because I feel like these are comfort films in many ways. But he didn't have a starring vehicle like the Hat Squad, and
yes.
I got to be honest with you, I love that show so much.
Oh
I actually
wow.
had Sam Jones on to promote a movie he was making, and I said, I have to ask you about Victory Smith, your role in
Mm.
Hat Squad. He goes, oh, I haven't seen those guys in forever. There's that one big guy, that really big guy. I go, Don Michael Paul. He's like, yeah, that guy. Love working with that guy.
Yeah, we had fun. Sam wasn't he also Flash Gordon at
I
one
mean,
point?
he was Flash Gordon, yeah, but still,
Yeah,
I like look at that role in the Hat Squad, and he was so imposing,
yeah,
And that pilot for that show was really big to me because I was like, oh, I love that they're like comic book characters come to life. There's these kind of
yeah.
cool backstories of all three of them. Stephen J. Cannell produced that
Hmm.
show, obviously. So, and you're working with a talented cast, and you're like that lead hunky guy, as I would like to say.
Oh, I don't know about that, but yeah, it was a very interesting show. It was one of my first times, or was my first time starring in a TV series, or at least being one of the stars of a TV series.
Right.
Uh, and learned a lot. Had got to work with some great directors. Rob Bowman,
Yeah.
who was the pilot director and directed many of the episodes. He did Reign of Fire, and he did Elektra, and he did the series X-Files, then did the X-Files movies, and
Right.
he's a really great filmmaker. So I got to learn a lot from him, spending time around him and going through that. And also Stephen J. Cannell, who became a mentor of mine. I wrote many pilots. I wrote several for him, none of which actually made it to the screen, unfortunately. But I, he was a great mentor who taught me a lot about screenwriting and TV writing. I got to, be on a set for 9 months in the rain in Vancouver, Canada, learning a lot about, just the nuts and bolts of filmmaking. Uh, I always say to people, filmmaking is, you can learn it, you can read about it, you can be taught about it, but there's nothing that prepares you to stand on the set the first day when you're the one in charge
Right.
and having to do everything that's required, because you have all these great plans, and usually 5 minutes into your day, your plan is ruined, and you have to figure out how to navigate the rest of the day in the filmmaking process and all that comes with it. Because it's not just about where you put the camera and how you tell the story and what moments you want to make sure you really focus on and what moments you can get through maybe a little bit faster. You have to deal with actors and people and crews and Hollywood's filled with a lot of unbelievably talented, creative people, and that usually that personality comes along with a certain type of person in some cases, and you have to learn how to navigate uh, that kind of craziness. So there's a lot to directing that you don't really know before you actually stand there and do it.
Would you find that, obviously you spent the first bulk of your career in front of the camera, and you said learning from these masters of their craft. I mean, Stephen J. Cannell is a master of the television craft. I mean, there's so many shows that he produced and whatnot, and directors that you
Yep.
learn from. Making that first transition into writing, was that challenging for you?
Oh God, it's such a long story. And I just wrote my memoir, by the way, which I'm hoping to get published.
Wait, whoa. Okay, hold on. Is this an exclusive then?
Well, I don't do many podcasts, so I guess it is.
Yeah, nice.
Uh, it's called Dead and Cool: Villains, Obsessions, and Starlets, and
Oh,
it's about my life in Hollywood and my journey from uh, arriving there and all that I went through. And it's a very personal story about the things that I learned and the mistakes I made. It's a lot of it's about failure. It's not just a chronology of my work. It's also my love story with Hollywood and uh, my love life in Hollywood
yeah.
and what that was like, and how I kind of grew up in Hollywood. I fell in love in Hollywood. I got broken hearts in Hollywood. I failed in Hollywood, and it's all about that journey through Hollywood. The title comes from my Harley-Davidson and the Marlboro Man. One of the most famous lines in that movie was a line where Mickey Rourke said, "It's better to be dead and cool than alive and uncool."
Right.
And it was a line that seems kind of macho on the surface. But to me, that line was a lot more than just a kind of a macho uh, line. It was more of a manifesto about, chasing your dream on the road less traveled and what that means.
Yeah.
So that's where the title of the book comes from.
Out there, it's better to be dead and cool than alive and uncool.
My dream of filmmaking started when I was 12. I went and I skateboarded down to a movie theater. I'm an older guy now, so it was one of those standalone movie theaters where, a movie played for 3 or 4 months at a time.
Yeah.
And the movie was Rocky. And I was like blown away by this movie. And, this guy that talked with an accent I'd never heard before in some crazy place called South Philly, where it was gloomy and rainy and cold. And he was beating the heck out of, side of beef. And I shouldn't, I don't know why that movie resonated so deeply with me, but it did. And then a year later, another movie came out called Star Wars, and I fell in love with that movie. And
Yeah.
I must have seen that one 15 times. And that was where really my love of movies began. I was 12 years old at the time, or 13. And then I wrote my first screenplay when I was not even out of high school. I was 16 years old.
Oh, whoa. Wow.
Um, I wrote it in longhand on a legal pad. So started writing screenplays very young. And then I went to college, studied theater and philosophy, and then I ditched out on college after 3.5 years and arrived in Hollywood, said, I'm going to try to give this a go. My dad, who was a nuclear physicist, and my mother, who was a therapist, thought, oh my God, what's happened? Our son has gone off the reservation.
You must have had the most empty conversations at the dinner table with those two. No, I'm
Oh
kidding.
God, they just didn't, listen, my mom was 100% supportive and they
That's
were
awesome.
both were. Uh, But it's a dream I had to chase,
Yeah.
and I did. And I didn't know anyone in Hollywood. I just landed there and said, I'm going to go get this somehow or another. And I was
Wow.
writing screenplays. So I'd been writing screenplays a long time.
Yeah.
I think my 10th, I think it was exactly number 10 was Harley-Davidson and the Marlboro Man.
Really?
Uh, yeah. And again, and I had some good mentors along the way.
Of course.
I don't know if you know this about me, but Albert Pyun, I had given him my early screenwriting pieces, and he had read them, and I acted for Albert in 2 or 3 movies. And then he called me up out of the blue, literally out of the blue one day, and said, Don, I need you to come down to Canon Films and meet me. And I did, and I didn't know what it was about. He didn't give me any kind of, you know, idea about what he wanted to meet about. And I got there, and he kind of slid this. I would call it a scriptment. It's half script, half treatment.
Okay.
It was 50 pages of a script that he slid across the desk, and he said, uh, "I need somebody to kind of fill this out, make it a real screenplay, and I only got 3 weeks to do it." And I said, "Okay, I'm in." And the script was called Cyborg, and it was written by Kitty Chalmers, which was Albert's cat at the time. And he said, I got an actor that's made a movie, and we got to start shooting in 3 weeks, or we have to pay or play him, and he's gone. And that actor was Jean-Claude Van
Yeah, I
Damme,
heard of that guy.
and he'd done a movie called Bloodsport, and I think Cyborg was just his second movie for Canon.
Second for
Anyway,
Canon, yeah.
so
Yeah.
I went home and by hand on my legal pad started scribbling my pages, and I, filled out that screenplay and wrote it and
Wow.
delivered him a full screenplay in a couple weeks.
On legal pad?
And no, I had it typed up
Okay,
at
typed
that
it up
point.
after. Okay.
Yeah, and then he did what he always does with his red pen, his red Sharpie. He circled things and scribbled things and gave me notes back, and I addressed them all. And then he said, "Hey, I want you to come to North Carolina and fly down there with me so we can be scribbling on this thing while we shoot it." And I went down to North Carolina with him, and literally 3 weeks after that conversation in Canon Films, I was in North Carolina, and the movie Cyborg was being shot.
Wow.
And Cyborg became, if you look it up on Wikipedia, it became what they call the father of the subgenre of cyborg movies.
Oh, totally.
And there's been a lot of sequels to that movie. I don't know how many of them, but he and the writer always remained Kitty Chalmers.
Yes.
If you look at that movie, it's written by Kitty Chalmers, which is one of Albert's pseudonyms. And then after that, the movie obviously did very well. Cyborg.
Yeah.
It made a lot of
Big
money.
hit.
And I don't know, 6 months later, he called me again. "Hey, Don, I want you to come down to Canada. I got something to talk to you about." And I went on down again, and he slid another script across the table to me. And he goes, "I got to shoot this quick. I need you to write this one, and this time we'll pay you." They didn't pay me for Cyborg, or at least if they did pay me, it was $500.
Okay.
I don't remember. I don't even remember I think it was $500 or $1,500.
Wow.
But that's not even what mattered. I just wanted to get myself, under that kind of pressure to be writing for something that meant something other than just me writing for myself.
Right.
And then he slid another scriptment across the table, and it was, again, short and not really a script yet. And it was Spiderman.
Oh, wow.
And he goes, "I want you to do this." And just to give you context, maybe to give your audience context, this was somewhere in late 1987.
Okay.
And in late 1987, as you may imagine, the VFX revolution hadn't happened yet.
Yeah.
And we weren't living in the world of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So nothing like Spider-Man really had ever been accomplished or even tried at the studio level, let alone at the smaller, low budget level.
Right.
So this is way before any of that. So I was like, "Wow, this is great. I love it." And he said, "Well, this time we're going to pay you." I think they paid me $2,500. And that doesn't sound like a lot of money
In 1987, it is.
right now, but in 1987, that was meaningful money. That was 2 or 3 months rent for me, maybe 4 or 5 months
For
rent,
sure.
6 months rent. And as a young, aspiring artist in Hollywood, that was a good payday, and I was thrilled to have it.
Yeah.
Um, and and I went out and I worked on that one, delivered it, and worked on it again and delivered it. And the final draft, just I know this only because I have the draft, was delivered on March 4th in 1988. And Albert, one of my conversations with Albert when he slid the script across the desk, and he said to me, "I really want you to do this." I said, "Do I get to put my name on it this time?" And he said, "Oh yeah, you can put your name on it this time."
Wow.
And I'll never forget this. He goes, "Don Michael Paul, that's a good name." He said that. Anyway, long story short, my name is on that screenplay, The Amazing Spider-Man by Don Michael Paul. And Albert, who worked on the screenplay and did the scriptment that he delivered, he didn't put his name on it. He put it out as with just my name on it,
Wow.
which was, I'm not entirely sure why. I never got to have that discussion with him why he didn't put his own name on it, but maybe it was just him being nice to me or giving me the credit because he felt like I deserved it. I don't know why, but he left just my name on that screenplay.
Wow.
That screenplay was eventually bought by Coralco, I believe, and James Cameron was going to direct. James Cameron did a rewrite of the script of my screenplay, and the only reason I know that is because I got a check from Lightstorm Entertainment because they had bought the rights to my screenplay from Canon. And as you know, the history of Spider-Man is pretty clear to everybody, but then Sony stepped in, bought it from Coralco, and Sam Raimi made it, and it was written by one of the great screenwriters, you know. I think is it Brian Helgeland that wrote the original?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. But those are my writing efforts I was able to do with Albert Pyun. So he was a huge instrumental mentor in my screenwriting career, and also a mentor in my directing career. Just to watch him work, he was a mad scientist behind the camera, you know.
Yeah,
So
I don't know if it's out yet, but there is, I believe, a documentary coming out about his career, which should hopefully come out soon if it's not out already. Because he is, you know, a prolific filmmaker. He did so many
yes,
projects in so many varying degrees. It's not just sci-fi or not just, you know, so many avenues. And from other stories that I've heard from other performers who's been on the show before, very similar experience in the sense that he felt like a mentor figure to them, very positive. And I love that he was so integral with your start in this business as far as filmmaking is concerned, because, you know, whether you like Cyborg or not, whether you like Alien from LA or not, whether you like, you know, Doll Man, which is another favorite of mine, you know, it's like, these are fun films. Like you talked about going to the movie theaters when you're 12 years old at these single theaters. I grew up in Michigan. Royal Oak was the one I went to back in the day. And when I moved to California, I had the Oaks has the Guinness World Record for the longest screening of a film, and it was The Gods Must Be Crazy for some reason.
Oh yeah.
So, anyways, you know, you go to these movies, you have a good time, you lose yourself in them, right? You know, I brought up Sam Jones, and you said Flash Gordon, like a serial kind of film. You know, these movies that are just fun and entertaining to see. And Albert is responsible for so many of those, and Cyborg and Spider-Man never obviously got made in the way that you had envisioned it, he had envisioned it, but the fact that it was so close, you know, and what a great start for you to get that experience. You know, it's funny because David Ullman he's a friend of the show, and he had asked the question about Cyborg and if you had any experience. So there you answered it for him. So but yeah, that's the transition that gets you to where you are on the road behind the camera, and you have this book written. It's done, right? But it's not published yet.
I don't have a publisher or an agent for it yet. I literally just finishing what I would call the edit. It was a bit long, and I'm trying to bring it down to the more manageable shape, which I think I've just done.
Okay.
So I'm hoping to get it published by a publisher. I'm going to start shopping it as soon as I got to do the package for it and all the things that come along with you trying to get it out there. But the manuscript is just literally just now finished.
That's brilliant. I mean, look, my wife is a firm believer in the universe kind of guiding you in your path. And I had a guest on, Todd Allen, and he talked about this kind of sliding doors moment of a choice he had to make, right? And
Mm,
what gets you from A to B. It's a beautiful thing. What gets you from,
yeah,
where you started in Hollywood to where you are now on our
yeah,
show, talking to me
yeah.
about this career that you've had. Uh, Everything
That's
happens for a reason.
interesting. I call them what if
What
moments.
if moments, okay?
What if I did this? What if I did that? What if I would have chosen this road to take versus that road to take? We're always looking back at or at least I am. I think we learn from our moments where we choose directions to take. So, but yeah, I call them what if moments.
What's with you and those fucking boots?
My old man gave me these boots. First time I rode in a professional rodeo. It was the first and last thing he ever gave me.
Hey, Marlboro, you could have told me that.
Well, I think about Marlboro Man, Don Johnson's boots with the duct tape all over them. And my
Oh yeah.
stepdad had boots like that, where we would get
Uh-huh.
him new boots for Christmas. And he's like, no, but these boots are still really good.
Yeah, they're worn in. They're just right.
It's a metaphor, though, right? I mean, I'm assuming so many
Yes.
of these things that you wrote in Harley were metaphors.
Oh gosh, there's a whole section in my book that's dedicated to Harley Davidson and the
Oh,
Marlboro
cool.
Man and the writing of it and the inspiration behind it. The great thing about that movie is at the time, it didn't make very much money. It didn't do well at the box office. It wasn't critically received very well. As a matter of fact, it was all the tastemakers and the cultural gatekeepers disliked that movie quite a bit.
Right.
Uh, and but as it's aged with time, it's become appreciated in a way that at the time you could never know. But it's a revered movie by a certain crowd, and it's iconic in some ways.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of that movie for many reasons. Uh, as a matter of fact, I don't know, not too long ago, 10 years ago or 8 years ago, I don't know. They did a revival of it at the New Beverly
Oh,
Theater
here in LA. Yeah.
in LA, and I was actually able to go. It was a midnight screening. One of the guys that owns the New Beverly had found a print of that movie at the Pasadena swap meet and had bought it. So they screened it at a midnight
Wild.
showing, and I thought, oh man, nobody's going to be at this midnight showing. And man, was I wrong. They were lining up around the block. Everybody was wearing their Mickey Rourke jacket from the movie.
Of course.
And they filled that theater. And again, there was standing room only, and people are sitting in the aisles. And I was able to speak after. And I thought, oh, no one's going to stay for this, And it's 2:30 in the morning. The movie ends, and the house is still full. And I was able to speak to an audience full of people who love that movie. And people said this movie changed my life,
Right.
and this movie did this and this. So I think that one of the things that's great about filmmaking, films in general, is that first of all, it reflects something about the current world that we're living in. It should teach us a little something about that world we're living in. And Harley Davidson, the Marlboro Man, was filled with a lot of kind of swagger and attitude and all the things that the title kind of implies. But there was something underneath all of that. I think that had something to say, about friendship, about life, about what it means to, what masculinity means.
Right.
Uh, and it was right at that time in our world, in our culture, where masculinity was being redefined.
Hmm.
And these kind of iconic images, Harley Davidson, the Marlboro Man, which are very masculine images. I think those images in general are on the way out. They were on it wasn't, and so it was saying something about, masculinity and what that means in our world. So, and I won't give away what the inspiration of that movie was, because I think it's interesting, and hopefully you'll get to read my it's actually a fictional memoir because I fictionalized part of it.
Oh, okay, cool.
But it's all in there about how it was inspired, and it's a very interesting story.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything, and I feel like this will be a great preview for everybody because it's coming out hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
I had extensively covered Harley-Davidson and the Marlboro Man on a previous episode of $2 Late Fee, and my other show,
Mm.
Podcasting After Dark. We interviewed Chelsea Field from the
Oh,
film, and she told
nice.
some great stories, and we broke the movie down scene by scene actually because that's what we do on one of my shows, and it was really fun. It was really fun to do it that way because it's always resonated with me as well. I was raised by my mom predominantly, primarily,
Mm.
and so the idea of being macho was defined differently in my household. And then I
Hmm.
see this movie where, Mickey Rourke is a sensitive bad boy, as I like to say,
Yeah.
and suddenly I started, I'm sure you heard this from people at the Beverly too. That kind of became a symbol for me. Like, oh, I can be a
Yeah.
sensitive bad boy. So
Yeah. Well, Mickey Rourke is just such an amazing actor, who really in some ways defined that generation of kind of, oh God, rebellious
yes,
ideal, and he had such a swagger and a cool about him that was so uh it was just him, uniquely him,
right.
right? And for a generation of actors that was growing up at that time or artists growing up at that time, he kind of represented that mythic kind of cool quality, right?
Yeah,
With all of his film work, that he had done. So he's iconic to me, and I think in 100 years they'll write about Mickey Rourke in that way because he really did break some ground in terms of his how he performed, the performance he delivered,
oh yeah,
the way he performed. He was very, very different, still is, and obviously a unique performer and a unique person that I think redefined an entire generation of acting and how acting was done.
I agree, but your script specifically allowed me to realize that you could trip and fall and still look cool while doing that. So,
Mm. Oh, that's nice to hear.
yeah, because there's this idea that's reality to me. The reality is
Hmm.
we all don't walk through our lives looking like badasses all day. We all wake up and go to the bathroom and have a pimple somewhere or here, whatever. It's like we all
Hmm.
have these things. You don't look
Yeah.
pristine. And there was some quality, it just resonated with me. It stood out to me. And it was very special, very special. So I do want to pivot
By the
to,
way, is that a Streets of Fire poster behind you there by
yes,
Walter Hill? Is that Michael Pare?
it is, who's been on the
Uh,
show, but that is original.
oh, it's
I got it
nice.
at the Hollywood Book and Poster Company, which is here in LA. It's moved a few times, but I bought that my first trip down to LA. I'm going through their whole collection. One of the guys
Nice.
who from Hollywood Book and Poster used to do a series of movies at the Beverly called the Grindhouse Cinema,
Yeah.
and his name's Eric Caden. He's since passed, and he would sell these posters. I think I got it for like $5 at the time, folded
Oh,
up, and I
wow.
opened it up, and I'm like, this is the original. Like you can feel the textures on it. So
Yeah. They don't make one sheets like that anymore, do they?
nope, they sure don't. And it's a great blacklight poster. My wife is every now and then she asks me to move it or take it down but my son loves it because he can put his blacklight, you know,
Oh,
light on it.
nice.
So anyway, yeah, I'm surprised. I'm not surprised that you noticed that because it stands out so much. I want to pivot a little bit to, our mutual friend Levi, who is a,
Mm.
Tremors nut.
Yeah.
You are responsible for quite a few of the Tremors, continuing the series.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, Pasadena Comic Con, there was a huge Tremor reunion panel with, like I told Don off the air, about 18 people were on stage and sharing stories of their fondness of the franchise.
Yeah.
And can you talk a little bit about how you got involved with the whole Tremors series?
Oh, I'd love to. Yeah, I love that series. There's been 7 movies, and I've directed 3 of them and had a hand in writing 3 of them. So, I mean, I think uh, I've contributed, you know, what, 40% to that franchise. So I feel like I have you know, a lot of skin in the game there.
Yeah.
It's such a, just to start out, it's such a big undertaking when you take on a franchise that is that beloved
Right.
by such a big fan base, right? Because they didn't just identify Tremors with what they were watching it on screen. They identified, you know, really with Stampede Entertainment,
Right.
and all those and those screenwriters, uh, S.S. Wilson and Brent Maddock
Yeah.
and Ron Underwood, and you know they really identified those movies with those guys, you know, and Stampede. And when I was called on by Universal to reboot that franchise because they wanted to reboot it for the 25th anniversary, which was Tremors 5 Bloodlines.
Yes.
You know, I still haven't. I've never met the writers or the creators of that franchise. I was just told they wanted to make a movie, and they, you know, you have to understand a couple of things in context. This is a time in the movie business where budgets are being seriously crunched down, right? And I come from, as much as I sometimes would like to not own it, I come from the, you know, the world of, you know, putting a lot on the screen for a little bit of money.
Right.
And that's kind of what my reputation is built on. So Universal called me in because they wanted to do this movie at a relatively big scale for a relatively small budget.
Right.
And that's how it was pitched to me. We need to do this for this amount of money, and we need you to do it. And then they hand me a script that was a script that needed to probably be shot for somewhere in the $50 million range.
Okay.
And if clearly that's not where we were. We were somewhere in the $3 to $3.5, $4 million range.
Can I pause you for one moment? Can I pause you
Yeah.
mid-thought? Because we actually have a special guest that's connected to you that just chimed
Yeah.
in, and I wanted to bring her in.
Great.
Okay, so I want to pause Tremors because we'll come back to that. She doesn't have much time, but hold on, let me bring her in. I think you might recognize the name when she pops on from your acting days.
Nice.
And Jill Schoelen is here from
Oh, Jill.
your rich girl reunion. I wanted to surprise you, Don, because Jill is a good friend of mine.
Great.
And I said to Jill, would you mind coming on for a little bit, just saying hi to Don and have a little rich girl reunion? So
Oh, wow. Hi, Jill.
Hi, how are you?
By the way, I was madly in love with Jill, but she was dating a guy named Brad Pitt at the time. I think that's my memory. Am I wrong about that, Jill?
No, you're not wrong. And all I can say is I made a mistake.
oh boy.
Oh, no. But I'm not joking. She was dating Brad Pitt. I was so in love with her when we were making that movie, and she had the coolest boyfriend on the planet Earth at the time.
Oh, no, you were so adorable. I loved working with you. You're like, you know, easily could have, should have had George Clooney's career, in my
Oh,
opinion.
gosh.
Agreed.
That's crazy. Look at Jill. I had a great that. Remind me, Jill. Didn't we shoot that movie in like 9 days? Wasn't it short? 8 days?
No, it was at least a month. At least.
It was?
Yeah, it was. It was
Oh my
at least a
gosh.
month. I think it was a 5-week shoot, and then they ran out of money. Do you remember that?
Yes. And you went off to do Popcorn, the
Yes,
movie.
I got a couple of offers to do a couple things like the next day or because they thought the
Mhm.
movie was done, and so then they were like, "Sorry, she's gone," you know.
Oh
And
my
then we
gosh.
went back, I think, and finished. We must have.
Yes. One day of reshoots or refinish shoots or something shoots.
Yeah, we had another day or two left.
Jill, did you have to wear a wig for that?
And I don't think so.
Okay, because I wasn't sure if that's in between Popcorn or not.
Oh, because I think I did cut my hair shorter.
Yeah.
It was
Yes.
kind of short for Rich Girl too, wasn't it? Around, I don't
Yes.
remember.
Yeah. I mean, the poster does not do it justice, but
Yeah, it was a
So-
little shorter in Popcorn.
Don, I had Jill on. We're going on 2 years ago, and Jill did a an interview from her home, and the poster behind her on the wall, it's this giant rich girl poster.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I'm like, I want that poster, first of all.
So my fiance put it up because he saw it sitting in the garage.
Sean Kanan was going to join us, by the way, guys. So Sean
Oh my
Sean is
gosh.
also a friend of the show, and Sean was going to join too, but he couldn't make it. And I said, well, maybe down the road we can do a full-on rich girl reunion.
Why don't you go home? This is my home.
He was reckless. He was dangerous. He was wild.
Come on, Courtney.
He was exactly what she wanted.
Okay, direct me.
What?
Put your hands like this.
You're crazy!
And the last thing,
Police record.
What am I, some toy for you to play with? She's ruining her life.
He set up your boyfriend.
You're making a mistake, kid.
You set me up, you son.
Don Michael Paul, Jill Schoelen. His music brought them together. Now nothing can keep them apart.
The two of you, by the way, singing in that film and looking like rock stars, being up on stage, it's so much fun. If I know Jill and I joke sometimes, it's like, oh, the 5 people that saw Rich Girl. I don't care if it was 5 or 500. I mean, obviously, I think there's a larger audience for it. But, you know, Don, you and Jill got to share a stage and sing together.
I know we had
And
fun.
I haven't seen Jill since then.
Wow.
I know.
I haven't seen her once. This is the first time I've seen Jill. And when was that movie? 1990s, whatever.
Yeah.
One or
So this is,
It's been a while.
gosh, this is 25 years. No, it's more. It's 34 years. I had not seen Jill in 34 years.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
I just remember I have this weird memory of like you were so in tune to women, like in the
Oh.
most beautiful way. And I remember, I don't know why I remember this so clearly. Don't you have like all sisters, like a lot of them?
Oh yeah. So I was raised by my parents were divorced when I was very young, and I was raised by my mother and my 2 older sisters.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
you
Basically.
2 older sisters.
Yeah.
In my mind, I made it like 5.
Well, they felt like 5. They were an army for sure, 100%. Yeah. So I was raised by primarily women. So maybe that's why. I don't know. It feels like my mom's still a huge presence in my life. She'll probably try to FaceTime in me right here. She always checks in. She's 87, 86.
Oh, wow.
I
86.
I still talk to her. I try to talk to her every day.
Hmm.
And my sisters are big presences in my life. So yeah, maybe that's why, Jill. I don't know. But gosh, that's a long time ago, 34 years.
Yeah. Yeah. You see, I'm thrilled. You're
Yes,
always one
I
of my
can tell.
favorite people I ever worked with. And, I worked with a lot of people.
Yeah, you did.
You
both
did.
You both did.
Well, back then when we did that movie, I was a nobody. Jill was a kind of iconic at the time. She had done a lot of great stuff and been in a lot of really neat movies.
You were not a nobody.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, I
were
was.
everywhere on screen as well. But the two
Not
of you,
believing that.
yeah.
No, but Jill had movies that were actually like hit movies. I'd never been in a hit movie. Jill had been in lots of hit movies, and she's was, in my mind anyway, she was iconic. She still is iconic.
Yeah.
But
agree.
I remember, I think, oh gosh, something happens after you turn 60 to the brain cells. But I'm
Yes.
pretty sure I'm correct about this. You tell me, didn't you write a film that sold like right around that time? What was it called? The motorcycle one or something?
Yes. I think it was just after that, right after we finished that movie, I sold Harley-Davidson and the Marlboro Man.
Okay,
It was
that's what it, okay, yes. I'm so sorry. I did forget temporarily the title.
That's okay.
Because again, I'm just going to say it again, the George Clooney thing.
Yeah.
The two of you on screen have a lot of chemistry, and it comes across very natural. It doesn't feel forced in any way. And obviously the music component to that film is huge. But did you find that you guys clicked right away when you started working together?
I think so.
I think so. It's hard not to click with Jill. Jill is a super, yes, she has a great personality, as you know, and she's very easy to be around, and she's warm and gentle and kind. So it's hard not to click with Jill. That's my memory.
He's
I was a bit
totally
intimidated.
about himself. That's how
No,
I feel about you.
because Jill is actually a performer in
Right.
terms of she's a real singer, and she can really do that. That's not something that was anywhere in my really in my wheelhouse. So that was a bit of an adjustment for me to try to figure that portion of it out. I think that came more naturally to Jill just because she's such a great singer and a performer in that way. So that was a bit intimidating for me. But I think after some practice, I got there.
Oh, you did great. You were wonderful.
We won't stop for no one. Look out, we're on the road again.
Wild boys with the slick city noise, rolling like a diesel train.
Shit souls and a fistful of promises. A dream is all we really want.
We're making music on the merry-go-round. Someday we're gonna hit the top.
Fasting for the danger.
Everything of what we've got.
Ever since the stranger rebels born to rock. We're here to rock, rock. Shake this house, tear it down. We're here to rock, rock. Wake this house, tear it down.
Jeff Soto was the
Oh, yeah.
vocalist for a lot of the tracks, but did you
Yeah.
sing those songs live when you were performing?
Well, I was yes, I did sing them live only to make it look realistic, but
So like
I
Michael
don't,
Pray then.
yeah, none of that is me. It's all Jeff Soto, who's a great rock singer, as you
Yeah.
guys probably can tell by listening to that. But when we were performing it, I was singing out loud, but it was still his voice was put in and used. And Jill, that is Jill's voice,
Right.
is my memory in the movie.
Yeah.
And that was an interesting day because we do sing a duet in that movie at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Jill's actually singing live, and I'm lip syncing to that. But getting that all coordinated, and because there's moments when we both go onto the same mic, and then we split the mic, and all that stuff. And then I'm trying to navigate how to look like I know how to play guitar when I know how to play a guitar. You know, so there was a lot to it that was, for me, complex. I think maybe a little bit more natural for Jill.
But you did great. But I had to do that on like one song. You had to do it on multiple songs.
Right.
Yeah.
And you were surrounded by people that played, if I
Yeah, all
remember
those
correctly.
guys on. The only one that wasn't a real musician in that group was Bentley Mitchum, Robert Mitchum's
Yeah.
grandson.
Or grandson, yeah.
Who I'm telling you, this is so weird. I saw him for the first time in November
Oh,
at
wow.
the Chiller convention, and then I've kept a little bit in contact with him. I was going to go to a July 4th party that he invited me to, and I was not able to go, but and then I sent Zach, knowing I was going to be on with you, out of the clear blue sky, I get this message the other day from a friend a couple days ago, and he said, "I'm sitting here with someone that knows you, Michael London."
Oh gosh, the producer of that movie, Rich Girl, right?
Yes, and
Yes.
I think it's okay to say this
Okay.
because I mentioned to him, like how many people at shows have come up to me about Rich Girl, and they say it's their favorite. I mean, I did a post recently on it with a picture of the two of us because it was like some anniversary of the film, and I was shocked the amount of people that say it is my all-time favorite film. How many fans say that? And Michael, when I talked to him the other day, he said that that it's been reviewed the last couple of years. It now gets good reviews, and
Yeah.
he hears the same thing that people, it's like getting this little resurgence, this tiny little film that 5 people saw.
It's funny. My son, who's 19 now, uh, he's on, oh gosh, I don't know, TikTok or Instagram, and he saw a post about Rich Girl with us singing, Jill. And he told me that he wrote on TikTok, he wrote, "That's my dad."
That's awesome.
And then a bunch of people responded back, "But I want proof. Prove it."
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's so funny.
And so I guess it's on TikTok too. I'm not on any social media, so you won't find me out there on social media. But he told me that it's even being talked about on TikTok.
It's impressive that you are able to stay off social media. That is it's one of those things that it's a creature. It's got its positives and negatives, obviously. But Rich Girl, I'm hoping a wider audience can see Rich Girl in the somewhat near future, because it's one of those movies that, yeah, it's got some, flaws or whatever, but it's got so much heart, and it's got a great cast, a phenomenal cast. Don kicks the crap out of Sean Kanan before he became the bad boy in Karate Kid 3, or I think it was around the same time he did Karate Kid. And actually, no, this was after Karate Kid 3 that he did that. So Don gets to do his own version of karate on Sean Kanan and knock him out. And I'm hoping, like, that's a movie that a soundtrack could be perfect for. On our show, we talk about soundtracks, how integral the soundtrack is to the movie. And clearly it is for Rich Girl.
Yeah.
Oh, it's huge. I think the music was a huge part of the movie. I think it's, it was carrying the love story and all that stuff that happens. I love that moment in the beginning of the movie. I don't remember which song it is, Jill, where I grab you. I come down off the stage and I grab you out of the audience and I bring you up on stage with me.
Yes.
There's all kinds of fun stuff in that movie.
There is. And Cherie Curry was in the film too.
Yeah, and Ron Carabazzos from Flashdance.
Right.
And the great character actor who was in Breakfast Club,
Paul Gleason.
Paul Gleason. He plays your father in that. Is that right?
He played my father in that, and I did another film with him too. And I also worked with Ron too on Murder, She Wrote.
Oh gosh, isn't
He
that
played
great?
my fake father in Murder, She Wrote.
I think the two of you need to work now together. You need to work on a project together.
Yes, I would love that. That would be great.
Fun.
Jill, Don just revealed on the air here that his memoir is fully written, but it's coming out hopefully, in the very near future. So that's exciting as well.
That is wonderful.
Oh, yeah,
Congratulations. You look terrific.
Oh, so do you. Thank you.
Well, I have vitiligo. Do you know what that is? That's why I'm so white. Do you know what vitiligo is?
I do know what it is because we were speaking about Tremors and Michael Gross has that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I actually do know what it is.
So I lost completely. I'm like a rare bird who has it, where I went completely white. Like,
oh no,
all my pigmentation. But after COVID, I got sick and they put me on a medication. I repigmented, and now they're working on getting me one color, but you can see it a little bit.
It just
really faded right now. But that's why I'm like, so, well, I figured if I'm in the horror world, known in the horror world, I may as well look like a ghost.
I think you look perfect, Jill.
I think so too.
Yeah, you do. It's
Jill,
so good to see
my
you.
whole point of this was to get two good-looking dudes on the show with you to talk about how awesome you are and how beautiful you are.
Well, how about the woman talking about how awesome and wonderful you two are?
Well, I have my moments, but not really.
Yes, you do. And it's
Uh,
so great to see you again.
Oh gosh, Jill, it's so nice to see you. It's always nice to see a fellow traveler who's been, you know, gosh, there's not a lot of us, Jill, that have lasted. You know, I got to Hollywood when I was 18 and I'm 62. I don't know what that math is, but it's a lot.
We're the same age.
And we're, to say that, you're still doing what you love.
Yeah.
It's the only job I've ever had. It's the only career I've ever had. And yeah, I never became, maybe I fell short of what my dream was. But to say that I've lasted for this long and still doing it, to me, that's a win. So,
Oh my God, you're
uh,
making me cry because I just think that is a dream. It's maybe not the one that you started out, but so many people can blow up huge and get that dream and they are gone in all kinds of different ways.
yeah.
And so it is a huge win and it's a beautiful dream. You know, I left the business forever
mm,
and I got brought back in just a few minute years ago
mhm.
and never thought I'd come back. And so I look at when hearing this from you and what you just said about a dream, I'm like, no, no, no. You achieved the dream.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
so achieved it.
Yeah, that's when I get down on myself or that critic in my frontal lobe starts to tell me that all those awful things that critic tells us, I have to push back against him and say, "Hey, wait a minute. I'm
Right.
still here after 42 years. That's an achievement.
Yeah, that's
Or
huge.
45 years or whatever it is."
And you direct now too, right?
Yeah, direct, right. I haven't acted in a long time, but I'm still living my dream.
That's what it's all about. And you're a hero to me in all new ways, just listening to you say, talk about it out loud, because otherwise I might not think of you like that, and I just, my thoughts about you are about back then, but you've brought a whole new part into it that I'm so happy now to think about when I think about you.
Oh, that's nice. Well, you taught me a lot, Jill. Jill has, I mean, you know this, Zach,
Yeah.
and because you're a fan, and all the fans out there that are watching, it's not easy to be natural in front of a camera.
Right.
And I don't mean that it's not all about just being natural, but to literally to stand there in front of a camera and be not just a good actor, but to feel like you belong there. It's not something everybody can do. And Jill had that quality in spades, and it's not a quality that is, it's a one in a million quality.
Yeah.
It really is. And as you, even as a director, part of your job is to give the actors a space that they feel like they're comfortable working in and they can do their best work and they can really deliver what's meant to be delivered. And, but not everybody can do it. And not everybody has that authentic, natural quality. And that's what I think made Jill so special.
I agree. I
Well,
agree.
thank you so much for that. And right back at you. You two have much to talk about because you have a much larger, broader, bigger, perhaps much, much better
No.
than Rich
No.
Girl.
We were just starting to get into some fan questions and wrap up a little bit, but Jill, having you on, always having you on. I remember meeting you for the first time and thinking, wow, this is, you blessed my life with your presence and you blessed our lives coming on today. So, and it was right around the time you came on our show, right when you got a couple projects that you just finished working on. So I
Yeah,
love
out
that
of
the
the
universe
blue.
is kind of
29
synchronicity.
years of nothing. And then like a couple things came along and I just got an offer on a nice thing yesterday. So I'm very, it's like
Oh, that's great. I can hardly wait to see him.
so funny, when you show up to life,
Right.
it listens. It may not, I try, if I can just say this, I'll just say this really quick. I can't help myself, everyone. Please forgive me. I just have to say it because I believe it so passionately. You start showing up and there's that saying about you may not get what you want, but you always get what you need.
Yeah.
And in that way, it's like I learned to like let go of the result of anything, but I don't let go of moving to something.
Mm.
And I let the rest just unfold. And it's quite lovely. And you show up for life. It starts showing up for you.
The minute you say yes, magic happens.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a beautiful thing. To everyone.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you so much for coming on. And I'm hoping we can do this in person down the road. That's my goal.
Oh, I'd love that. It's
Yeah.
great to see you, Jill.
So good to see you. So good to see you. You look
Gosh.
great. Lovely.
When next year when we do the Rich Girl reunion at the New Beverly Cinema.
All right,
There we
let's
go.
do that.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Make it happen. All right. Thanks, Jill.
Okay,
See you
thanks,
soon.
Scott.
Bye, Jill. Love you.
Love you. Bye-bye.
The place was jammed, the music loud. Could see her face standing out in the crowd. She winked at me, feeling good, and I didn't care. All I could see was her standing there. I said the crowd got up, the band was playing. In my mind I could hear her say, I love you. She could have been from anywhere. She could have had most anyone. I bet the girl seen another world.
That was a surprise.
Wow,
I'm sorry. I
crazy.
wanted
That's
to,
awesome.
I didn't mean to like throw you for a loop there, but I was like, I just got to throw this in. Jill and I were talking and I said, I'm having Don on. She's like, oh my gosh, I would love to say hi to him. I'm like, well, let's make it happen. So
That's wild. And it's true when I tell you that I haven't seen her since we said goodbye on the set of Rich Girl in 1991.
wow,
That's the last time I saw her. I've never seen her since.
that's a trip.
It's a long time. We were started to talk about Tremors. Do you want to finish that subject?
I do.
Or is it
I do because Levi had asked that question and you were,
What's the question Levi asked? I'm
well,
curious.
How you kind of got involved with the franchise, and for those that don't know, because you were saying Universal, you were thinking that it's a movie you would need 50 million to make, and then you made it for about 3 or 4, and that's when Jill chimed in. So
Yeah, so there was listen, not to get to draw it out for too long, but I've never met the creators of that franchise. I didn't get to meet them. I have huge respect for them, and it for them to create a franchise that is still living and still out there in the film making world and the zeitgeist of of our culture. It's amazing. It's a 1 in a million thing, or 1 in 10 million. Those kind of franchises are rare.
yeah,
So I have huge respect for those guys. And again, I've never met them. I never had the opportunity to meet them. But I have nothing but reverence for what they were able to accomplish. But my job was not just to honor the franchise and but it was to honor the franchise and do it in a much different way than
Right.
it was being done prior. And again, big respect for them, but I had to do it with visual effects as opposed to the animatronic creature, which I think most of the Tremors fan base, at least the real hardcore Tremors fan base, they loved the puppeted creature.
yeah, the graboid.
They loved the kind of kitschness of it, the kind of old school, monster party kind of vibe
Right.
that those movies had. And a lot of that was the rubber creature and the kind of the fun of all of that. Well, in my world, when we rolled around into the Tremors that I got to, it became a completely visual effects world.
Oh, it had to
which
be.
is
Yeah.
It had to be for cost-wise, for shooting purposes,
Right.
for lots of different reasons. So that was the first thing that I think a lot of the Tremors fans were disappointed about. And then, I didn't approach Tremors as, okay, I wanted it to be a movie that anybody could watch, whether you'd seen the previous movies or not. And one of the great things that they did in the franchise, and I'm talking about in the first 4 films before I arrived, was there was always an evolution of the creature. The graboid and the graboids were in the graboid was the big under earth creature, and then the grabbers were the tentacles that came out of the mouth, pulled people into the maw and kind of devoured them. That was the original Tremors, right?
Right.
The evolution into the next Tremors, you were introduced for 2 creatures called the Shreiker and the Ass Blaster.
Yes.
And so there was always an evolution to the creature, an etymology of what the creature did. And by the time Tremors 5 rolled around and we were into Tremors 5, the Bloodlines world, the question was, what is the next evolution of this creature?
Yeah.
And one of the things we did in that movie that kind of took their evolution and took it a step further is the creature breached the ground like a big great white shark coming out to eat and to hunt. And the grabbers, which were the tentacles inside the mouth, were able to leave the mouth, come out, grab their prey, and bring the prey back. And those kind of things were not well received by the fan base. They didn't like it, that it broke tradition. And there was a lot of pushback and a lot of awful things and nasty things said about me. By the way, and Levi, I think, who was one of my primary critics for a long time, I got to meet at the Violent Crown, and I got to meet a lot of the people there that were, I wouldn't say fans of Don Michael Paul. And
wow.
I'm all about listening to the people that don't agree with me and don't agree with the choices you make.
Right.
But I think what a lot of people don't fully understand is it's not just it's a filmmaker. Me as a filmmaker, it's a studio.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people that are involved in the process. That I don't get to call. I'm not Christopher Nolan.
Right.
I'm not even Albert Pyun. I don't get to call all my own shots when I'm hired by a studio to reboot a major franchise for them.
Yeah.
I just do my best, as Burt Gummer would say, I just do my best with what I got.
Right.
And that's what I did with those movies. I'm very proud of what I've managed to do with those movies. Again, I've done 3 of them, so I feel like I'm a pretty big part of that canon of films.
Yeah, you are.
I loved every minute of it. I loved those films. I loved what I was able to do with them and what I was able to contribute. I think I got a lot of, there's a lot of heartache over the last one I did, Tremors 7. And for people who haven't seen it, I won't be a spoiler, but the fate of characters in that movie, people were upset about. But
Right.
I love that movie. I think there's a lot of great stuff in Tremors 7 and Tremors 6 and Tremors 5. I loved them all. And so Levi's become a good friend. I speak to him occasionally. He's probably texted me by now. Who knows?
Did you bring me up on the show? Did you bring?
And I have much love and big respect for all the Tremors fanboys and fangirls and the creators of Tremors. I got no beef with them. I know they have some beef with me for what I did to their franchise, but I have nothing but respect for them.
Hey, every franchise has to go. You can't go in the same direction every single time. You got to make pivots. You got to make turns. And what I appreciate is it's a little engine that could franchise. Who would have thought 35 years ago now, the first one came out, that we would be talking about Tremors in 2025. Like I'm a huge fan of practical effects and big monster movies, and my son loves to make things. And I introduced Tremors to him this year, being at 10, and he loved it. And I said, Bodhi, there's 7 of these, and he's like, oh, cool. So he's full in, and it's also like a more family friendly franchise built around monsters, which I think is a beautiful thing.
There's not only 7 of them. There's also a TV series.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah, but the TV show, the show as well. So.
And by the way, Levi has made a bunch of Tremors movies. You can watch his movies too.
Yes.
There's a plug for you, Levi. Go out and watch Levi's movies. I think he puts them out on YouTube.
Yeah, you know what, Levi? I'll put a link in our show notes to your channel so everyone can go check those out.
And Zach, Levi does a podcast as well, a Tremors podcast.
He does. He does do a Tremors podcast. I have a couple more questions really quick. One is from Rusty, and he wants to know about being in front of the camera, your experience of making Brotherhood of Justice.
Crime has reared its ugly head at Santa Lucia High.
Do you have any idea how much this little party last night is going to cost? Estimates haven't come in yet.
And the students there have vowed to fight back.
The wolves are at our front door, friends. We can run, or we can fight.
Hey, let's get a group together and start kicking some tail. Targets. We've got 11 in all.
So Team Hard.
Nobody breathes a word. Not about what we do, and not about who does it.
Brotherhood.
But things got out of control.
We could take over this whole school. We could take over this whole town.
The quarterback and a couple guys from the football team. Half the school thinks they're heroes, and the other half seems to be jumping for cover.
And now, a crusade of justice
Brotherhood is the only force of law and order left around.
is a mission of vengeance.
These aren't pranks. We are investigating felonies here, Bob.
Down on your knees, Geek.
Get behind me now.
Derek, you've got to stop this before it gets any worse.
What if I can't stop him?
No! Don't move! It's wired!
You put a damn bomb in my car.
This isn't a game, you know. No, it's better.
Keanu Reeves, Kiefer Sutherland,
Equalizers. Bam.
Brotherhood of Justice.
Oh yeah, boy, those are a bunch of iconic actors.
Right.
Gosh, that was back when we were all a bunch of nobodies, just wanting to be somebody. Keanu Reeves was the star of that.
Right.
We had Billy Zane in there, Kiefer Sutherland, myself, Lori Loughlin.
Yeah.
Who am I leaving out? A nice young actor from New York named Evan Morandi.
Oh yeah.
Joseph Spano. Oh gosh, I know I'm leaving people out. Forgive me for whoever I've left out.
It's okay. You got Darren Dalton from The
Darren Dalton,
Outsiders. Yeah.
Danny Nucci.
Yep. Gary Riley from Summer School.
Gary Riley. Yeah, a lot of great actors in that movie. And again, we were all just at the start of our careers. There was always something very special about all those guys. You can see it, you can see the guys that you feel like, oh, wow, these guys have something about them that are different.
Yeah.
Keanu was certainly in that league. You could really feel that there was something, something burning deep there. And, he's becoming one of the most iconic actors we have. And
right.
I'm a massive fan of Keanu Reeves. And I think I'm even a bigger fan of John Wick than I am of The Matrix.
Well, yeah. I think you need to be in a John Wick movie. I think you need to be an undercover agent in John Wick or something.
Yeah, gosh, I love Keanu. I think he's great. I haven't seen Keanu since we made that movie.
Oh, wow.
But my memory of working with him was that it was something special. I felt like I was in the presence of someone someone special. He just has that kind of otherworldly vibe about him that is what makes him the movie star that he is. So I loved working with him. Billy Zane was clearly a standout, and so was Kiefer. You can just feel it when you're around those kind of actors and the kind of talent with that kind of charisma and
right.
and film presence. That there's something going on. I was very. Again, it was one of my very first, jobs. So I think I was, still finding my way, trying to figure things out. Didn't really understand how the camera worked and how the relationship between the actor and the camera, what that all means. Because there is a relationship between an actor and a camera, and the choreography of acting for the camera. Mm. All that's, stuff that you learn by doing,
yeah.
By being forced into the situation, because it can be pretty intimidating when somebody just sticks a camera in your face and you're like, oh, now I got to be real. Now I got to do this. There's a quality that, you can get stressed and begin to get nervous, and that all is picked up by a camera. So I was in the beginning stages of that. but I love that experience, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot from all those guys that were so much more in at the time, and in retrospect, really had a much greater understanding of the film language and acting and for the film than I did.
Yeah, yeah. If I encourage people to go check that out. Again, I'll put links. A lot of your movies back in the day are available on YouTube and whatnot, so people can go watch those. I got one last question, and there are others, but maybe we can do a follow-up down the road. That would be really amazing. I would love that. DJ Hit wants to know about, well, before I ask this question, I had a guest on the show. His name's Reeve Stimson. He's a young guy. He has like an 80s retro sound to his music. He's a musician, singer. And I said, come on the show. Let's talk about your career. And then I'm going to have you watch a movie from our upcoming guest, Don Michael Paul. And we'll talk a little bit about that movie. And he's like, well, what's the movie? And I said, well, the movie's Winners Take All.
Gentlemen, welcome from Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. All the top riders are here. David Bailey, Ricky Johnson, Ron Glover.
Supercross, the ultimate test for riders and machines. A dirt track battleground that separates the men from the boys, but never from the girls.
Are we a team? We ever not?
What are you doing, man, with your friends? These are my teammates.
Look, the only thing that Billy Robinson's got over you is technique. That is it.
At Carlsbad.
Hey, buddy.
Now only the top 3 riders in
It's like old times, Robinson. Still gotta have it all.
Equal the whole shot. He is right behind the leaders.
Some riders will do just about anything to win. On the track or off.
You know, some riders are afraid of losing and others are afraid of winning. Which one are you?
The Dallas World Championship Supercross. The riders, the absolute Ironmen of Supercross. Ricky Johnson, David Bailey, Bad Billy Robinson, AJ. You race to win, whatever the cost. You gotta be tough. You gotta be smart. And you gotta be fast. Whatever the game, whatever the rules, you play to win. Only winning counts in this dirt track brawl because Winners Take All, the hottest racing movie of the year.
Oh yeah.
DJ Hit actually wants to know your reflections on that movie. I love that movie, and you know, I'm a huge fan of you mentioned Rocky, but I love the sport genre, right? Rad and thrashing and you know, North Shore, obviously, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Winners Take All is in there. It's the BMX genre. Your thoughts on that movie?
Oh gosh. Yeah, that was a crazy fun movie. That was a Supercross movie, right?
Yeah, Supercross, yeah.
So I was kind of thrown in the world of Supercross, riding motorcycles and doing all that. Had another great cast, you know. And I think that was I don't know, maybe one of my first movies where I was the star of the movie.
Yep.
And, you know, that was a super interesting experience. It's directed by a director who's a friend who's done some great movies, Fritz Kirsch, you know, for those of you out there, he did some really, you know, The Children of the Corn.
Tough Turf. Tough Turf.
And he did a great James Spader movie called Tough Turf.
Yep.
So I learned a lot from him. My reflection on that movie, it was a lot of action in that movie, and it was really fun to make. It was exciting. Just instinctually, my memory goes to the very first scene we shot in Texas Stadium, and it was at an actual super cross event, Texas Supercross. When I came out of the stadium tunnel with all the riders, the real riders, and the crowd cheered, and we pulled up to the starting line, and all that was filmed in front of a live audience at Texas Stadium with all the real riders.
Wow.
And I got to come out with them and feel that moment, that kind of, you know, moment where an entire stadium lights up. It's a pretty unbelievable feeling. And I can't, you know, the sense of what athletes go through when that happens, that adrenaline, that surge of, oh my gosh, it's a pretty powerful thing. And, you know, it makes me think about, you know, the notion, are you can you meet the moment? Are you big enough for the moment?
Yeah.
And that's really what it's all about in life. I tell my children, Zach, you know, you gotta 90% of life, and maybe I'm getting too philosophical and I don't mean to, so
On
forgive
our
me if I do.
show, that's not a problem.
You know, 90% of life is just showing up. And surviving, you know, the failures,
Right.
and not letting the naysayers tell you can't do something. You know, you show up and you keep showing up and you keep showing up and you keep trying and you keep pushing and you keep writing and you keep acting and you keep directing and you keep getting better and you keep reaching for something that's out of your reach and you keep pushing up against your limitations and breaking through one at a time. And that's how you achieve a dream. Yeah, there's talent is definitely involved, but
Yeah.
I've always said hard work, resilience, dedication, commitment, those are craft elements.
Right.
It's not just learning how to be an actor. It's not just learning how to be a writer or a director and learning all the craft elements that go with all of those. And those are huge things to learn and important. But maybe the biggest craft element of all is resilience and showing up and not giving up. And I think that's probably why that might be my best quality, is that after looking back now, after all these years of doing it, is that I showed up all the time and I never gave up. And there's you know, have tenacity and resilience. And, you know, I've been told a million times, Zach, that I'm no good, stop doing it. Why are you still doing it? You're a terrible writer. You're a terrible director. You're a terrible actor. You're this, you're that, you're this, you're that. I've been told that a million times, and I've been able to shrug it off and let it go and keep pushing forward. And I think that's a huge part of the craft of becoming an artist.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's, by the way, that's the theme in Rocky.
Right.
You know, to bring it full circle back to what I told you, where my journey as the love of filmmaking began, which was with Rocky. That's the whole thematic element in that movie, which is resilience, never giving up. I think he even has a line to Adrian, and when they're lying in bed, he just, it's just such a, and again, I'm going to paraphrase because I don't know the exact dialogue, but I know the feeling. And the feeling was something like, I just want to prove to everybody out there I'm not a bum from the streets. And it wasn't even about winning for Rocky. I think what he says is, I just want to go the distance.
Right.
You know? And that's what I think you have to, when you go to Hollywood and where you want to become something creative or you want to choose that kind of an endeavor for your life, it's about going the distance. You know, if you're going to go out and try to do it for a year or two, you probably shouldn't even try. It's not something that you do in a year or two. It's something you do over a lifetime.
As a good friend of mine says, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Yeah, exactly. So that's and Winner's Take All was a step on my journey to learning the craft and learning how to be resilient and showing up every day. And I haven't seen that movie in a long, long time. Gosh, I'm not even sure I remember it. I just remember it was about a young guy that wants to become a supercross racer, and I think his best friend has already become a supercross racer.
Right, and he takes your girl too, by the way.
Takes my girl, and it's kind of living in the shadow of him and having to try to prove to myself that I'm as good as he was, something like that.
And ultimately proving it to your own self, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about today. And you know, like you said, to tie it up, to put a little bow on it, that's a beautiful thing. You know, I'm a huge Joseph Campbell fan, and
oh yeah,
Follow Your Bliss and The Hero's Journey and Hero with a Thousand Faces. If anyone's ever read that book, if you haven't, go read it. You know, we have this path, we all have a path in life, and you don't know where it's going to take you. And like you said with Jill, it's like, whether you envision where you are now, well, someone had a vision for that, you know, whether it's Universal or whatever. And you coming on the show and gracing us with a little bit of your time is huge, man. I really, it means a lot. It really means a lot to have you on and to get a piece of your story that we will get more of down the road.
Yes, I hope so. I'm not done. You know, when people write memoirs, they usually think, oh, they're retired or they're over, they're done. I didn't write it for that reason. I wrote it because I had all this stuff inside me I needed to get out.
Right.
And it was time to let the past go and start a new future. You know, that's a big part of what we do as well. We have to continually reinvent ourselves in life.
Totally.
Find a new way to do something. You know, I'm a screenwriter. I've been a screenwriter for a lot of years, but I decided I should tackle something new to again, I said earlier, you bump up against your limitations. And wanted to try a new format, a new way of telling stories, a new way of doing something. And that was part of the reinvention process that we all do in Hollywood to keep ourselves creatively on the edge.
Totally. Look, I love it. There's a guy named Mick Foley. He's a professional wrestler, and he wrote his first memoir on a plane on a legal pad. Scribbled it all out and wrote, I think, 300 or 400 pages. That was his first book. He went on to write 2 or 3 more memoirs, follow-ups from that. So that's what I envision with you. You got this, you put this one out, people will go, well, he's not even done yet. And nope, this is part 1 of many more.
Yeah. And I hope that's the same for you, Zachary. I hope you keep doing all your podcasts and you reach out and grab your bliss, as Joseph Campbell says too.
I appreciate that. Don, I hope there's more to come down the road with you, because this was great. Thank you again for your time and your stories and everything.
Thank you.
Hey, Aloha Summer. That's another one to talk about down the road.
Oh, gosh. She's got a lot of them in there to talk about.
All right. Well, until the next time, thank you again for being on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye, Zach.
Bye.
Oh, listen, I just wanted to say goodbye and remind you that the good guys always win, even in the 80s.